G'day all. Thank you for joining us on our first coach chat. That's definitely what we wanted to be like. Justin Shore, assistant coach of Melbourne United. We've got Dean Vickerman, head coach here as well, and Kylie Hitchner from our office staff. What we want you to think this of is it is a coach chat. It's a general chat sort of situation. We're going to try and navigate some different topics in the coming weeks, and tonight's very relevant with how do we deal with our teams and coach development in an isolation period, which is something brand new to all of us. I guess one thing we've got to do right off the bat is thank our sponsors. We can't do any of this, and in these times we've got to keep thinking about them. So thanks to Tyre Power and Dream Street Lending for giving us this opportunity to work with the numbers of coaches that have come through. A little bit of housekeeping to start off with. If you can keep things on mute when you're not wanting to talk, that helps us greatly, just keeping echoes and whatnot going on. I've got a couple of dogs in the background here, so if you hear some barking, that's them, not me, and I apologise for that in advance. But what we'll do straight off the bat here is throw over to Dino. He's just going to give us a little bit of an update on how we're operating in this period and what it looks like for us.
Good, thanks, Justin. Hi, everybody. Yeah, just want to hit a little bit on what we're doing as a club right now and as a staff, and some of the self-improvements. Justin's going to talk a lot more about how you improve your team over this time, and I'll talk about a little bit of self-improvement. The NBL landscape right now is, this time of year, we're normally really digging into free agency and imports and those type of things, and we've put that a little bit on hold, and the league's given us an extra month to sort out our free agency. So that process is, still intact, and we're still, churning through it. But again, we're all aware that our league may look a little different by the time it comes around, and so we prepare for that one as well, and prepare for different models. We have got Shay, Mitch, Casey, and Joe as our contracted players right now, and so certainly hope to get a few more of the local content back and try and keep that core together, which successful teams have done over the past. Nick Popovich is a very important member of our team right now. He is connecting with all our players and making sure that they are getting all the requirements that they need right now to continue their health and fitness in a different environment, and doing that from home. So, yeah, I can't see myself right now. Is there any reason why that happens, or you guys can see me? Good, beautiful. So yeah, Nick's doing a great job in making sure that our players' health is in the right state, and that they are progressing and getting better, and making sure that there's no dip in their fitness during this period. From a coach's point of view, what do we do right now? And certainly free agency is a massive part of this time of year, but also reviewing the things that you've done. So I just wrote down 7 things I thought that you can do this time of year to ensure that you're getting better as a coach. Because if you get better as a coach, your players and your team's going to get better. So the first one was to read, and something I neglected a little bit during this season, but a book that's been recommended to me and I just ordered online is Captain's Class by Sam Walker. So if you get a chance to have a look at that one, it looks at a number of elite teams around the world, not just basketball, and then looks a little bit in depth into their leaders and how they went about trying to get the best out of their teams as well. So that's my challenge by probably next time we come back into one of these to say I've got somewhere through Captain's Class if it gets delivered on time. But check that one out. I'll be interested to hear what you guys think of it as well. For me, it's watch. I'm watching our season back. I thought I was just going to watch the last quarter of the season where we performed really well, but it looks like I'm going to get through the whole thing, the series of it. We're digging into different series. I'm going to go back through our series and look at the things that we did well, the things that we can improve on. When we struggled, what did that really look like? What were the body languages? What were the things that X's and O's that we could have done better during that period, and try and make myself better? Looking at the positives and negatives. Obviously, that'll build some player development plans that we have to make sure that we're feeding our information from their review at the end of the season, but also moving forward and in the things that we can do better in their development plan. And Justin leads that area for us a lot, making sure that we've got those plans in place. The next one is to study. And my studies this year, I really enjoyed our games against the NBA team. So I want to go back and really look at Nick Nurse and what he's done in Toronto, but not only that, what he did in the past, because he had his steps towards the NBA. It was London for a long time, and then he progressed through G League and different things. So he took an interesting path to be an NBA head coach. Obviously was an assistant as well. So, a coach that's a little bit relevant to me, and then loved what they've done to win that championship, but also backed it up this year without Kawhi, being able to, stay at the top of their game as well. So coach that I'm going to study. And I also want to go back and study David Blatt. I loved what he did in Europe. Coach Joe Ingles, some of those guys made it to the NBA, probably should have won a championship, but didn't, and ended up, heading back to Europe. And him and Rick Pitino battled in Greece this year. And so I want to go back and look at some of those games right there. Review, we reviewed. When you have a season like we did, you end up, reviewing everything a little bit harder. And I thought we did a good job as a club, reviewing all our processes, how we recruit, the type of people, what's most important, the style of play, how we want to make sure that the people fit into our club style of play and culture as well. And so reviewing everything that you've done in the past. Accountability, disciplines, but also the reward system. Something we failed to do a great job of this year was, how do we keep rewarding people for doing great things? And I think you got to keep building that into your teams as well. You're going to have your disciplines, you're going to have your accountability, you're going to have your punishments, but make sure that there's a real balance about how you reward great behavior or great play or unselfish play, and keep looking at those things about those rewards. Health goals. For me, it's a simple one right now. I'm up to 14,000 steps a day, walking my dog. That may be tougher when we get locked down a little further and my courtyard out the back isn't massive, but I want to keep hitting that target. And again, my reward system for that is to say, yep, you can have a red wine at night or a beer or whatever it is, but that's my reward system to make sure I get my fitness goals done. And again, the other one was, what did I have down there? Last one. This is the time of year as a coach, I normally go and get checks, get to the doctor, get checked out. That one might be a little bit tougher with the things going on, but I still plan to go do those things. Take care of your health. Coaching is stressful business. Even junior coaching, where you got to deal with a lot of parents, it becomes stresses that you got to make sure that you're taken care of as well. So take care of your health during this period. Family, we get a Marley spoon box delivered. So I'm the chef and I'm actually really been enjoying it. Can I get better at doing other things during this period? But actually really been enjoying cooking for the family and having that family time to sit down and discuss, what's going on. And the last one, I spoke to a G League head coach, and keep trying to find a coach a week that you can talk to about the game. Spoke to a G League head coach last night who coached in Europe and done different things, but he talked about the love of the game in the G League. He thought he had 8 players out of his squad of 12 to 15 that didn't love the game. And I'm sure you guys are going to find that more and more with your kids. There's so many other things. My kids don't actually love the game. If I was in isolation right now, I'd be outside shooting hoops and playing and trying to get better every day. They're finding different things to do, and they enjoy the game, but they don't love the game. So I think we got to keep finding ways as coaches. How do we continue to have them love this game? because players are going to have so many different things, so many different distractions, that we've got to make this thing fun. We've got to have that rewards, that basketball is the number one sport of choice when they're selecting it, because they love it and they're having a great time doing it. So keep selling the love of the game. And they're some of the things that I've got to improve on this off season, and hopefully you guys can as well.
Thanks for that,
On to you,
Dino.
Just.
Thanks, mate. We'll open up some question time at the end of this, so we'll just keep trying to roll through. We do have that limited time, so keep thinking of those questions. But Dino hit on some real important stuff there, and one of those things that I think everyone's got now is time to think about yourself, and that's a huge advantage we've got. I also think in unique times like these comes unique opportunities and really challenges us as coaches on how can we reach out to our athletes? How can we continue to evolve and make our groups better? Outside of Melbourne United, I'm in a unique situation with, I've got an Australian team that's waiting to find out if a World Cup's going to actually happen for us this year. So trying to keep athletes that are that 16, 17 age bracket engaged and enthused about what potentially is to come and how we do that. And then I've got a NBL1 team that just lost their season and still trying to keep a cohort motivated and how we move forward. And I think some of the things we're doing in that space can be really relevant for your groups right now as well, and something I'm sure we'll use once we get our squad back together. What we're doing right now is such a wonderful tool. I've sat in on so many different Zoom meetings of late, and just the ability to be able to connect and have that FaceTime, I think, is a really important thing. One thing we've set up is what we call a team huddle every week. Initially, that started as a way just to check in on people. I've got a few athletes that live by themselves, so isolation is very isolated. Unlike my situation where I've got a partner and two dogs driving me nuts. But to make sure we were checking in on them, seeing how they were doing, if there was support mechanisms needed for them through this period. But then what it's also extended is us to be able to train other parts of what we want to be. So we've hit a lot of stuff on our culture. We can sit around and talk about what our traits that we want our team to be about. How do we act on those traits right now when we can't be physically together, but we can then find ways to just interact and help each other out. Other things that we've done through that space is training our minds, and doing some elite training in that space is probably an area we don't get a lot of time with our teams on. You know, we're into the practice court, we may get an hour a week, but then we've got to be able to find avenues on, you know, trying to get them to do that in their own space. But right now, times is a beautiful thing. So we can then go and use some different mechanisms on that. Mindfulness, there's a few apps around that I'd recommend you just do a little bit of your own research on, all free applications, but something that you can all do as a collective and find some benefit through that. The other element is different ways that you can coach your athletes right now. So FaceTime on mobiles is something that definitely allows us to still be able to give some one-on-one coaching. And Dean and I spoke earlier today, and we said, like, the unique thing for our athletes that we have at the moment is they don't have basketball hoops at home. But where the majority of you that are out there coaching your groups, they're going to still have that access to a hoop in the backyard, or it's just about having some pavement outside where they can use some different workouts and whatnot. You might have seen the MU challenges, home challenges that the club's putting up. Like, we definitely want you to sell that to your athletes and get them into them, but then figure out your own as well. Something that is a great tool for athletes in this period, and again, something I'm using with my squads, is they've got to come up with a drill per week. Different athlete each week has to come up with a different challenge, and then that week on our WhatsApp group, the scores are coming in. Boys are having to now ask for video evidence of scores, so it's starting to get pretty competitive, and guys are getting after it. But again, a different way to make, one, your athletes think about, well, how do I get myself better through this period? Two, all right, let's throw out a challenge and see what we can do as far as a collective, and see where it goes from there. The other elements that is a real advantage in this sort of space is how do we use different apps to help our athletes out. And just two different resources I'd like to to give to you. There's an app out there which is free called Coach My Vid. And basically what athletes can do is video themselves doing a workout. They can video their shots, and you can provide feedback. You can take that video, do diagrams on it, make notes on it for them, and be able to give that instant feedback to them, which is just another way, especially when you're in that development tier of the sport. If you've got avenues where you can get some visual and go provide that back, it doesn't take any interaction at all physically, which is a great thing. The other part to that would be then, is there a way that you can set up FaceTimes and communicate and coach those athletes as they're doing a certain workout and drill? One of the ones though that is a great function, I've seen a number of different clubs put it out with their own unique challenges and whatnot, is the home court app. One that I've put out to our Melbourne United guys as well. Our Geelong guys are doing it, and again, it just builds up some competition. I think some of you probably saw Delhi on that one as well. A lot of different athletes around the world using it, and just a great way for them to interact. Don't need a hoop. There's a lot of challenges there that all they need is really a ball. So again, a different way for athletes to keep up skilling and progressing through that. The last one I really want to hit on is the challenge for us right now is, how do you continue to make your teams evolve as far as their basketball IQ in the game? And this one will take a little bit of time, but thankfully most of us have probably got a little bit extra of that right now. But one thing that we've done is, or my assistants have done, I should say, it hasn't been me yet, but we've taken a still shot of the game where our athletes are involved, and then we've asked them what should happen next. And then they come in, they punch in their little answers, and then the video clip runs and it shows what the outcome was. And then they just basically effectively grading themselves on that one. So it's just a different way for us to be able to try and get thought stimulation going on game scenarios. The other part is recommending different games or quarters that they need to go back and watch of either your own games, or like Dino's done, go and review the whole season and see what has worked for them, what hasn't worked for them. There's a number of different little elements there that athletes can engage on in different ways. We can continue to build some IQ with that. That's my little team build up part. Is there any kind of questions, thoughts out there? Dino, have you got anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I thought that was pretty comprehensive. How have you found the apps though? Just go through those two apps that you talked about again.
Yeah, so the home court challenge is the one which has the least interaction from myself, but what the guys have been doing is basically just posting their highest scores, and the main one that's getting the biggest workout on that one's the ball handling one, which I think is the one Delhi put up as well, where you've got to make your movement while dribbling to touch the parts of the screen, which has been, my center's actually got the best score right now, which is interesting because he's just one that lives by himself and goes full time with it.
What was the other one called again?
The other one is just Coach My Vid, which is something that, so I've got an import that we flew back to the States. We were doing a lot of work on his shot. So I'm still giving him some feedback on that front. And then Mitch McCarron's another one that we've had a chat about maybe looking to do some of that stuff as well. So just a way to, again, get them to send you footage and then be able to go back to them with some constructive feedback.
Great. Zoom has been fantastic for our club. We have a performance meeting on Mondays where we talk about recruitment, where we talk about how we're all going, and a staff meeting on the Tuesdays where, again, we get around and just connect with each other and talk and keep seeing everyone's situation. So, important time just to stay in touch with everybody. And so hopefully, same with you guys, whether that be with your team or your coaching staff, is to make sure you've just got that regular communication about how people are going, and also ideas sharing about how you guys get better.
Absolutely. Throw it out to you guys. Has anyone got any questions or things that you guys have found successful through this period of time?
Yeah, I have a question. Nigel Rose from Hawthorn Magic. Dean, you mentioned that you wanted to review your reward system. Can you talk to some of the stuff you're already doing to reward your athletes?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
I think, some of the things I've done in the past, and most teams will end up having a team trademark. And in New Zealand, our team trademark ended up being the word "chur," and so each week we had the chur award. So not necessarily who was the played best in the game or the two games that you had over the weekend, but we took it over the whole week. Practice, clinics, whatever they did for the club, and every member just voted for one player, and we counted the votes each week, and we come up with the chur player of the week. We got some Nike gear that was given to us, and we put a little chur label on it. That was a prize for 1 week. We had some restaurant vouchers, just some different things to say your culture, the 4 words that make up trademark are the most important things, and we're going to continue to reward it. And I thought, I didn't do a great job of that this year with this team to go ahead and reward those things. So, I'm sure you have your own weekly awards, but whether it just be on games, or whether it be based on, an element that you think is the most important, who took the most charges, or, whatever kind of effort areas that you absolutely want to reward. But yeah, keep thinking those things that, can make it really enjoyable to get great team play and great culture within your club.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there?
Yeah, I've got a question if you don't mind. James McNamara, Magic. Just wondering if you've got any tips on how to motivate youth kids when they don't have a hoop at home. Obviously, they all love shooting and they want to pop threes up wherever they can. But if they don't have a hoop, how do you just get them motivated? I think I love that coach my vid idea, but is there any ideas you can get to really motivate them to get out and practice, whatever it might be, dribbling?
You go first, Shula.
Yeah, no worries. I think that's where the peer pressure of the team comes into effect. Having and whether that is a way that you generate a prize at the end of the week or whatnot. But what I've noticed with, especially the Oz group, is just wanting others to know that they're doing the work. And that becomes just self-motivation within the group, more so than me having to drive that as a part. The other part was getting them to have to come up with something. So there are a couple athletes that are exactly in that position. They don't have a hoop at home, but they've come up with some great passing drills and whatnot, where that's their thing that they're owning. They're going to be the best at it because that's what they've designed. And then it's up to everyone else to try and challenge it. So I think putting some ownership to the athlete definitely helps create some motivation, and obviously that peer pressure within the group.
I think it's a cop out. Like, if you can't find a hoop in Melbourne to go shoot somewhere, I'm absolutely surprised. I've got a school across the road, and they've locked all the gates, but there's still kids there every day, shooting there, finding a way. I saw Majuk's sister playing at Docklands today and different things. There's hoops out there that you can go and find, and I'm sure everyone's got a friend that's got a hoop somewhere. Whether you're allowed to go to their house or not, I'm not sure, but I think you can still find a hoop during this period.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Any others out there?
Yeah, hi guys. Andrew Petrie from Craigieburn Eagles. I'm really interested in some of your examples on how you guys keep the game fun. I coach under 12 kids, and we always try and think of fun games, basketball, sort of situated fun games to keep them interested and keep the game fun. What are some of the examples that you guys use with some of the older players to keep the game fun?
Yeah, I think the obvious one for us is Soccer Friday. It was been a tradition, and we stopped it for a second because we felt like the quality of soccer started to disappear and people weren't that enthused about it. But then we're like, no, this is who we are. Soccer Friday is something that the majority of the people look forward to, and so that's our warm-up drill. It's got competitive, but and we've done different things with it this year as well. We've brought in different soccer goals. We normally just use witches' hats. We've had guests come in and play. We had Archie Thompson, come in and play a game with us, and it's like, and then I think there's another level that we can go with soccer, that we can actually have people support different teams and talk a little bit more about soccer. But again, when you talk about footwork, soccer, boxing, two of the major ones for me where you can learn so much from in those two sports. So soccer's one of our fun ones.
Yep.
Just remember to keep it on mute, guys, if you're not talking. For me, there's two things that I think are pretty important through this period, where there's got to be a fun element to life right now. The trick shot challenge that's been thrown around, we've kind of seen a number of those things, and just trying to get guys to do something different with the game, which has been a fun one to watch. But the other part is, and something I'm asking athletes all the time, and I was talking to Alex Pledger today, and he's telling me he's looking at online courses and learning something new. For our guys at Geelong, we've just said they've got to tell us something with the letter CATS, so CATS, that they've done new in the week while they've been in isolation. And there's been some interesting things come out of that, but it's got them to think about, well, what's something different and new that I can do? Because you can get into a little bit of Groundhog Day at the minute, I think, where you get up at the same time, go to do your walk, and then you get into your day. So getting them to think about some different things. And the best one I had on Monday night was one of my athletes came back and learned a new song on his drum kit, which kept the boys entertained for a couple of minutes, and the banter's continued on during the week. So, yeah, I fully agree. It's got to be something. What are you doing, Baxter? Maybe not just basketball. Anyone else got anything out there they want to ask? Alrighty, well, we are coming up to our half-hour mark, and this thing will just shut up on us. So we might start winding it up there. Take on board what Dino said as far as investing time into yourself as well, because I think that is a great point, that when we are great as coaches, your athletes equally great with what's going on in the game. And hopefully we've been able to give you some little things and ideas that you can go away. Next week, if you come back and have found something that's been a success, we'd love you to be able to tell us about that. But we are looking to do these every week. Again, thanks to Tyre Power and Dream Street Lending for helping us be able to do these. And I recommend share the knowledge, share the wealth, and let as many people know that these is a regular occurrence. And if there's any topics you want Dino and I to hit over the coming weeks, please send them in to Kylie, and we'll definitely take them along the way. Dino, you got any last words?
No, yeah, I thought there's a great option if they could send in any topics that they want us to talk about. Then we can keep selecting them and pick a couple of topics to deal with each week.
I got a question, dude.
Yep, go ahead.
Question, dude. Yeah. Yep. So you went through the thing that said you showed the players a still shot, and then went on to how do we score from that opportunity. Could you give us an example of something like that for next week?
Justin, did you?
Can you ask that question again? Yeah, can you ask that
one again? Yeah, ask it again. Okay, yeah, so Dean was saying that he had a game situation where he showed the players a still shot, and then go on and ask the players, what happens from here, or what should they do from there? Could we come up with an example of that for next week?
Yeah, for sure. I'll figure out how we do that on this platform, but I'll talk to our techie guys on that and figure that one out for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
No worries. Beautiful. All right.
Beautiful.
Well, thanks guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy the extra time with your family, and we'll chat to you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.